Hey all, today we're going to talk about some more angle pairs that we will see, and these angle pairs are formed by this unique scenario where we have lines intersected by a special line called a transversal. So here we have three lines. We have line M, line N, and then this line T. And line T is what we call a transversal. And a transversal is just any one line that intersects two or more other lines. So line T is intersecting or crossing over both line M and N. And so then we call that a transversal. And you can see that we have a lot of our angle pairs that we've talked about. Well, not a lot. We have two types. We have linear pairs. So I have a whole bunch of linear pairs here. Angles that make straight lines. I have vertical angles that exist here. Angles made by lines that intersect and they're across from each other. So those purple angles, the green ones here, my yellow ones here are linear pairs. I have other linear pairs like those blue ones. They're all over the place. So we have those relationships that exist in these pictures. So whenever we have two or more lines intersected by a transversal, we have sort of two regions that get formed, an interior and an exterior. Interior means, I guess more simply, inside, and exterior means outside. And when I talk about interior or exterior, I'm talking about are my angles in between the lines that are intersected, or are they outside of the lines that are intersected? So I have this interior that's in between these lines that are intersected by my transversal. And so I end up getting four interior angles. One, two, three, four. And then I have an exterior that exists outside of those two. And I get four angles that exist outside or exterior from the two lines. One, two, three, four. And so in these pictures, we have interior angles and exterior angles. And this is sort of leading us into some special angle pair relationships that is inside the two lines and outside of the two lines. So just real quick, we're going to identify some exterior angles. The exterior angles are the ones that are outside of the two lines that are intersected by the transversal. So first of all, that's the transversal. And so my exterior exists above that line and below this line. So my exterior angles are angle 1 and angle 3. They're outside of the two lines that are intersected by the transversal. Here I'm looking for interior. Interior is between my two lines that are intersected by my transversal. And so my interior angles are angle 2 and angle 4. So now I'm going to use these words interior and exterior to talk about some special angle pairs formed when a transversal intersects two or more lines. So in these pictures we have linear pairs and vertical angles, but linear pairs would exist without one of these lines. So if I got rid of line N, oh, I can't do that. If I got rid of line N, I'd still have linear pairs and vertical angles up here. So for example, I'd have that linear pair, or I'd have those vertical angles. I wouldn't need line N to have linear pairs or vertical angles in this picture. But when I do have all three of these lines, I do get some special angle pairs, and they only exist because I have a transversal that crosses these two lines. And so alternate interior means I'm in between line M and N, interior, and alternate refers to opposite sides of this transversal. So alternate interior angles, and I like to do this X and dot. So I'm going to put a dot here and here. Those two angles are called alternate interior angles. They're in between M and they're on opposite sides of the transversal and opposite sides of this picture. I have one more pair of alternate interior. I'm going to X them. It's those two. They're inside and they're on alternate sides or opposite sides of the transversal and opposite sides of the picture. I also have alternate exterior, so these are going to be outside of lines M and they're going to be on opposite sides of the transversal and opposite sides of the picture. So this angle here and this angle here are alternate exterior. This angle with an X and this angle with an X are alternate exterior angles. Outside of line M and on opposite sides of the transversal, opposite sides of the picture. Same side refers to same side of the transversal. So interior, we're inside, so I have same side interior angles here. They're in between line M and they are on the same side of transversal T. Those two angles that are X'd are same side interior, in between M and N, and on the same side of transversal T. Same side exterior, again, we're going to be the same side of the transversal, but this time we're going to be outside of lines M and N. Same side of the transversal, those X's, but on the outsides of line M and N. And then the last pair are corresponding. So in corresponding angles, we're going to have one angle that's exterior and one angle that's interior. So I'm going to go around and I'll do some shapes, maybe sort of like a PlayStation controller. So I have these four angles, and then I have four angles down here. And the angles that are sort of in the same spot down here as up here are called corresponding angles. So angle X here corresponds to that angle. My box corresponds to this one. Square, I guess. Triangle corresponds here, and circle corresponds here. They're in the same spot. So X is in the top left of these four, X is in the top left of these four. Triangle is in the bottom right of these four angles. Triangle is in the bottom right of these four angles. So corresponding angles exist in the same location in both, I sort of call them groups of four angles. So I do have four questions for you to answer here. If you remember from the last video, the question is going to pop up. So I put them all on separate slides so that you can take a look and answer the question, and then it'll pop up and you can select your answer choice. So do all four of these. If you have questions, make sure that you bring your questions to class, and I'll be happy to answer them.